Okay, we have some more breaking news from you today in college baseball recruiting. We're probably going to have a few more of these over the next couple weeks. I want to keep you guys updated with everything that's changing and what the impacts might be. Going to have the feedback from a former high-level assistant coach in college baseball who's now in the pro world. And also, we're going to go over this article from Yahoo Sports that kind of details the changes to the National Letter of Intent. So we're going to pull up that article right now. And we're going to read through some of it. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but going to give you guys kind of the rundown on what's changing. D1 Council, October 9th, a few days ago, D1 Council approves transition of National Letter of Intent program into NCAA signing and recruiting rules, effective immediately. Council decisions are not final until meeting concludes later today. Meeting concluded, and these are getting put into getting put into the official rules now. National Letter of Intent program, which began in 1964, was governed by the Collegiate Commissioners Association. Much of the function of the National Letter of Intent will be folded into a new model. Expect recruiting rules surrounding a player signing with the university to remain in place. According to Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports, similar recruiting rules tied to the National Letter of Intent will continue with the signing of school aid agreements. They end a prospect's recruitment. For instance, all communication with the signed prospect and family members must end, and the prospects are prohibited from signing more than one aid agreement prior to enrollment. The current NCAA rules indicate high school players can't sign a binding financial aid agreement until signing day. However, with this move, like any other, there is potential for seismic structural changes to the high school recruiting process. Signing periods could be altered, and a new or updated mechanism for binding commitments could open the door for a new set of legal challenges. Okay. So essentially what this is saying, guys, and I'll get into kind of some of our feedback from, again, like I said, a high-level former coach in college baseball who's now in the pro world. Basically what this article is saying is, according to the changes, everything should be the same, but with changes like this, there's always ways schools figure out how to get around things. Is it going to, are players really going to be locked into this? Are they actually not going to be able to continue to get recruited by other schools and, get out of the financial aid agreement they signed and sign with another school? There's a lot of question marks. Again, a lot of this isn't solidified yet in exactly how it's going to work. This article basically just says, hey, listen, we've got the former rules we can enforce, but we don't know. We're going to try to assign those to this. But again, with legal challenges and everything like that, who knows what can happen. So here, guys, here's some feedback from the former assistant or former coach in college baseball that's now in the pro game. Said he sees about 5 scenarios that could potentially happen with these changes. Again, with a lot of stuff still being up in the air. Number one, a senior commits to a Division I program in the fall by signing a financial aid agreement. So right here on National Signing Day. And then during the spring season, a better opportunity arises with another school offering a more attractive scholarship or better athletic facilities in that financial aid agreement. So basically what that would do is, since there's no binding NLI, and that's the key here, is this going to be as binding as a National Letter of Intent is for a player? The player can more easily change his commitment before enrolling. So if that's the case, if that ends up happening, guys, you're going to have to recruit. And again, it says here, it ends a prospect's recruitment. All communication with assigned prospect and family members must end. But does that mean other schools can still communicate with him? Can the school that signed him, is it only the school that signed him that can't communicate with him? These are things that are going to have to be ironed out because, again, with how competitive recruiting is now and how it continues to get more and more competitive, this may open the floodgates for schools trying to poach players late in the process. Number two scenario, a top-ranked high school pitcher is being recruited by multiple schools. The financial aid agreement allows him to choose a school where he can negotiate not only for athletic scholarship, but also for a lucrative NIL opportunity that can supplement his financial package. Impact. This scenario aligns with the trend of NIL playing a significant role in recruitment decisions. Athletes might prioritize schools where they have better chances to monetize their name, image, and likeness. It also makes financial negotiations more central to the recruiting process. So again, I mean, this is just talking about how, schools can get more creative with this financial aid package now. And schools are kind of doing that already. But this national letter of intent change, it's just, again, it's opening the door. If they don't get the wordage correctly in the legislation, every little thing's going to get picked apart to be seen. All right, how can we take advantage of this? So when changes like this happen, guys, there's always ways around certain things. And so that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Number 3, increased decommitments and recruitment drama. Senior signs financial aid agreement with a school, but other universities continue to recruit him aggressively. Without an NLI, which would typically signal the end of open recruitment, the athlete may feel less bound to his initial choice. And again, this gets back to, is how binding is this new financial aid agreement going to be? Are they going to make sure that it's as binding as an NLI? We don't know. The impact. The absence of an NLI could lead to more frequent decommitments and create an atmosphere of continuous recruitment even after initial decisions, potentially leading to more last-minute changes and drama as athletes reconsider their options. So again, if it's not as binding as an NLI, what that means is, any school with a lot of scholarship money, a lot of NIL money, can come in last minute if a guy's made a huge jump in development and say, hey, we know you signed this financial aid agreement, but we can give you more. We can give you NIL, everything like that. So it's going to make more drama in recruiting because there will be poaching. And, schools are going to have to stay on top of their recruits even after they're signed. They're going to have to figure out a way to do that. 4, the late bloomers are going to benefit from extended recruitment. The scenario, a senior who did not receive much attention during early recruitment signs a financial aid agreement with a smaller program. As his skills improve dramatically during the final months of high school, larger programs start showing interest. Impact, the lack of an NLI allows him to reconsider his options and potentially sign with a higher profile program. If it presents a better offer late in the process, this benefits players whose skills peak later than usual. Yeah, so kind of leading from number 3 to number 4, I mean, this is exactly. I mean, there's a bunch of guys who that development happens a little bit late, and underneath the old system, they kind of get left behind or have to go to a smaller program. Now with the portal, they can kind of, they can go ball out somewhere and end up where they want to be. But now with these changes, and again, it all hinges on this, guys. It all hinges on, is this financial aid agreement going to be as binding as a national letter of intent? And the thing is this, even with the national letter of intent, I mean, there were still ways players were able to get out of that. Coaching change, stuff like that. But it was binding. I mean, it kept players from getting exactly what's happening in these scenarios where a school comes in and says, hey, we can offer you more. That was, as a coach, that national letter NLI signing day, that was when you kind of, the breath of fresh air, you kind of, all that anxiety left your body because you're like, okay, these guys are ours now officially. If this changes that to where it's not as binding, coaches, even senior spring, for a player that's going to be on campus in 3 months, they're still going to have to be communicating with them and making sure that they're showing them love. And in the 5th and final scenario, guys, and then we'll get into kind of all what I think about all this and kind of what our team at Elite Sports Advising is kind of seeing where we think what's going to happen. Strategic use of financial aid agreements. A senior uses multiple non-binding financial aid agreements to negotiate better scholarship terms from his top choice schools. For example, he commits verbally to one school while keeping a backup option open through a different financial aid agreement. Now, I will say in this, it says they will not be allowed to sign more than one aid agreement prior to enrollment. But again, this is the thing, this is what you guys have to understand about the NCAA. They say things like this, and then it's basically like, well, what they're saying is, well, we hope they're not going to sign any more than one aid agreement. That has to be nailed down in the letter of the law that they can only sign one. And if there's any loophole in there, I can promise you guys are going to figure it out. And then exactly, and again, and this is the other thing, and this is in this scenario 5, we're really only discussing, guys, if maybe they had signed a financial aid agreement, but if they have multiple financial aid agreements on the table that they haven't signed yet, this is exactly right. I mean, you can use this to kind of get some more money out of your top choice. And this could give recruits leverage to negotiate improved terms or incentives from competing programs, potentially leading to more player-centric recruitment process. And so then again, guys, we've been in the Wild West. Now we're entering the brave new world of college baseball recruiting. So much is changing so fast that we're having updates like this at least a couple times a month. I mean, things are changing so fast. And so what I would say, guys, is this. It looks like, again, we have to stay up to date with how binding these new financial aid agreements are going to be. You're still going to have your National Signing Day. Parents at home, don't worry about that. You're still going to get to do that. It's just not going to be a national letter of intent. That's when you will be signing essentially your scholarship package, your financial aid agreement that's got your academic money in there, your athletic scholarship, and maybe NIL, stuff like that. But I do think, this is going to open the door to differences and changes in the recruiting process. Because again, we have to figure out, okay, is the financial aid signing day going to be in the same time frame as the national letter of intent was? These are things we have to kind of wait to kind of see how it develops. So we'll be keeping you updated with that, guys. Guys, with how crazy college baseball recruiting is now, you're seeing with all the videos that we're putting out for you. If you're confused, as most people are right now, if you're looking for guidance through the recruiting process, go to our website, fill out an eval request. We'll give you a free eval request, tell you what we think about your son, where he could potentially get to, puts in the work, how we can help him get there, and if it makes sense, we'd love to work with you. Thank you for all the support in the videos, guys. We hit over 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate all you guys out there that are continuing to watch the videos and ask questions. Any questions you guys have about this video, don't hesitate to put them in the comments, and I'll answer all of them. And we'll be back with another video, maybe another breaking news video tomorrow. So stay tuned, guys.